but Sunday was behind bars, facing charges of premeditated and first-degree murder with a firearm after being accused of killing Gurlala.
Hello?
Yeah,
Hello?
This is 911. Stay on the phone with me, okay?
Yes, hello?
This is 911.
Hello?
This is 911.
Get here! Hurry up and get here! Who's calling me? Hurry up and get here!
Stay on the line with me. I need you to stay on the line with me, okay?
Please.
Tell me that.
Please.
On the way. I need you to stay on the line with me, okay? Stay on
All
the
right.
line. Do not disconnect. Are you able to give me a good address? Stay on the line with me, okay?
All right.
They're coming as quickly as they can, okay? They're coming. They're on the way. Me and you talking is not delaying them. Stay on the phone with me. Stay on the line with me.
Broward County Sheriff's Office says around 7 p.m. Friday night at the 3300 block of Northwest 37th Street in Lauderdale Lakes, they found Gurlala in the front passenger seat of a car with multiple gunshot wounds. NBC6 obtained this exclusive video showing White Jr. stepping out of his car, going to the passenger side and putting Gurlala back in the...
I ain't attending no funeral with my son that God gave to me as a boy in no wig.
A father refuses to walk into a funeral home. His child is inside, lying in a casket, surrounded by flowers and mourners. But he won't go in, not because he doesn't care, not because he isn't grieving, but because of what his child is wearing. This is the story of Gurlala, a 21-year-old with a smile that could light up a room and a TikTok following of over 263,000 people who loved watching her transform hair into art. Maurice Jaden Harrison was the name on her birth certificate, but to the world, to her followers, to everyone who mattered, she was Gurlala, a transgender woman living her truth, one post at a time. But behind the makeup tutorials and the laughter, there was something else, a boyfriend, Shinoid White, and a relationship that was slowly killing her. She posted about it. She let the world see the bruises, hear the arguments, watch the cycle of abuse play out in real time on social media. Her followers begged her to leave. Her friends warned her. But leaving an abuser isn't as simple as walking out the door. And on one horrible day, Shinoid White made sure she'd never walk anywhere again. Gurlala was murdered by the man who claimed to love her. And then came the funeral, the place where families are supposed to come together and mourn. But instead, it became a battlefield. Her father made an announcement that shook everyone. If she's dressed as a woman in that casket, I'm not coming inside. He wanted his son buried as a boy, not the daughter the world knew, not the woman Gurlala fought so hard to become, just a son he remembered, or maybe the son he wished she'd stayed. Her mother disagreed. Her sister disagreed. Friends were outraged. And suddenly, a funeral turned into a public fight about identity, respect, and who gets to decide how we're remembered when we're gone. So here's the question I want you to think about as we go through the story. When someone dies, who has the right to define who they were? The family who raised them, or the person they became? Before we go any further, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button and turn on your notifications. Stories like Gurlala's need to be told, and your support makes sure we can keep shining a light on cases that matter. Drop a comment and let me know. Have you ever seen a family divided like this? What would you do in this situation? Now let's hear from the people who knew her best.
Of course, when my girlfriend made me mad, I had to bite her.
The former college football player at the center of a murder investigation.
I like women and trans women. It's called being trans attracted.
And now the family making headlines themselves at odds over what Gurlala should be wearing at her own funeral.
I ain't attending no funeral with my son that God gave to me as a boy in no wig.
I'm Justin Carter and this is TSR Investigates. But before we get into it, roommates, for more TSR Investigates, make sure you go ahead and like this video and subscribe to the Shade Room's YouTube channel for new weekly episodes of this show and more.
This is the kind of stuff that as trans folks, we're always telling people that we have to be aware of, that we can be killed, especially by people that we know, and sometimes by people that we say we love.
The news has not only rocked the trans community, but Gurlala's nearly 500,000 followers on social media. This happened on November 14th in Lauderdale Lakes, Florida. And just as the sun had set, A 911 call, someone frantically asking for help. In fact, it was the suspect, 25-year-old Shanoid White Jr., who police say moments before had shot his transgender girlfriend and influencer, 21-year-old Maurice Harrison, also known as Girl La La La. What he didn't know at the time, that there was a Tesla recording the entire encounter just a few doors down.
Stay on the phone with me, okay?
Yes, hello.
This is not.
Hello.
This is not.
Get here. Hurry up and get here. Who's calling me? Hurry up and get here.
Stay on the line with me. I need you to stay on the line with me, okay?
By this point, the damage had already been done. You can hear someone even moaning in the background.
Yes, I don't know the address, bro. Just check. Just check, please.
Okay, tell me exactly what happened.
According to court records, Shanoid White Jr. told investigators he got into an argument with Girl La La La, and there was a fight in his car over a gun that he had. But video from a neighbor's Tesla appears to show White get out of the car with the gun in his hand as he races over to the passenger side. And if you look close, Girl La La La, her limp body slumps outside of the door. White seems to pull her up by her hair to then get her back into the car.
Did you see that video?
I didn't. It's too traumatizing.
Tori Cooper of the Human Rights Campaign Foundation says it's crushing.
Angered by it.
The HRC, they track violence against transgender and gender expansive people every year. And since 2013, nearly 61% of fatal crimes against the community were Black trans women.
60% of those cases, it's with a gun. And it's also by someone, like I said earlier, someone that we know. There's been this belief by a lot of people who aren't trans, that trans people don't hold any power, that we're not worth protecting.
Hi. What we leaving for?
And from the outside, Girl La 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 seemed to trust being around White for the most part. They were on and off again for about 3 years.
I like women. I like trans women, okay? What they call that is, they call that being trans attracted. But I also like women. I'm not pansexual, because that mean you date anybody. I'm not bisexual, because that mean technically I like men. No. I like women and trans women. There's a name for that. It's called being trans attracted.
But it was hard not to see the signs. In one video, you can see Girl La 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 had a bite mark.
Of course, when my girlfriend made me mad, I had to bite her.
Another video, she's hiding at a McDonald's.
The nigga decided to pop up to my friend's house trying to kill me. Like, this boy is cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Like, bruh.
At a vigil last week, loved ones speaking out just days after she was pronounced dead at the hospital.
Everybody is hurt.
Don't let his tragedy be in vain, because the person that did it thought he was going to erase him from this earth.
Yes, because I think the world saw it, and we saw her loving on someone that was treating her this way. It was hurtful for the world to see this as another trans person that has been through this life for many, many years.
Stasha Sanchez, a trans woman and advocate in the community, says it's why she lives her life constantly on swivel and avoids dating certain men.
It was really hurtful to see her go through some of the things and witness how we are treated from men. You know, and so I try to protect myself as much as possible. Mentally, you just never know what can happen.
White, now locked up on a first-degree murder with a firearm charge. 2 families grieving, one having to now plan a funeral. A funeral that's also got the internet divided after Girl La La La's dad spoke out over the weekend.
Y'all want to put the man in the wig.
Furious that the family wants to bury Girl La 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 as a girl and not the son that he remembers him as.
I asked y'all to have Friday. I'm going to get a word, Girl La La. Whatever y'all want, Girl La La La. I don't know him as that. I ain't taking that from his followers, from his crowd, none of that. Y'all can have that. Put him in the wig. The viewing is open for the public. Come see him. I ain't taking the opportunity from y'all. I don't want none of his followers, likes, none of that. The funeral Saturday. Put my son in the pot smoke, braids with a sharp tape, or an afro for the last time. I ain't attending no funeral with my son that God gave to me as a boy in no wig.
Girl La La La's mother and relatives fighting back on social media, suggesting that her father was never in her life to begin with, so he should have no say. Quote, This expletive ain't about no expletive clout. My baby knew what she wanted and made her own decision and still came to the Lord's house as that. Yes, you birthed a son, but my baby made her own decisions. All I'm doing is honoring them. This is not about satisfying me nor you. It's about her.
So that's what happened. You heard it from the people who were there, who loved her, who tried to protect her, and who are now left picking up the pieces of a tragedy that never should have happened. Let's talk about what this all means. Lala's funeral did happen. Despite the threats, despite the arguments, despite the ultimatum, she was laid to rest. But the question of how she was dressed, whether her father attended, and what that moment looked like for the family remains wrapped in pain and privacy. What we do know is this. Even in death, Lala couldn't escape the battle for acceptance. And that tells us something important. Domestic violence is already one of the most dangerous situations anyone can face. But when you add the layers of being transgender, of being young, of being visible on social media where your pain becomes entertainment for some and concern for others, it gets even more complicated. Lala showed the world her abuse. She didn't hide it. And still, she couldn't escape it. So, what do we do with that? How do we, as viewers, as community members, as human beings, how do we respond when we see someone crying out for help online? Do we scroll past? Do we leave a comment and think we've done our part? Or do we actually intervene? Here's the hard truth. Intervention is messy. It's uncomfortable. And sometimes, even when you do everything right, the outcome is still tragic. But that doesn't mean we stop trying. If you see someone posting about abuse, reach out privately. Offer resources. Don't just comment, leave him, or you deserve better. Help them make a plan. Connect them with organizations that specialize in helping people escape dangerous relationships safely. Because leaving is often the most dangerous time. Now let's talk about the other side of the story. The father who couldn't bury his child the way she lived. I'm not here to villainize grief. Losing a child is unimaginable, and everyone processes that pain differently. Lala's father lost someone he loved, and his beliefs, his worldview, his understanding of who his child was. Those things clashed violently with who Lala had become. That's real. That's painful for him too. But here's what I want you to consider. Love isn't about molding someone into who you want them to be. It's about accepting who they are, even when it's hard, even when it challenges you, even when it doesn't fit your expectations. Lala spent her life fighting to be seen. She fought to be recognized as a woman. She fought to build a platform where she could express herself. She fought to survive an abusive relationship. And in the end, she even had to fight for the right to be buried as herself. That's exhausting. That's heartbreaking. And it's a reality that too many transgender people face, even beyond the grave. So let me ask you this, and I really want to hear from you in the comments. Do you think a person's identity should be honored after they die, even if their family disagrees? Where's the line between respecting the deceased and respecting the family's beliefs? Drop your thoughts below. I read every single comment, and I want to know where you stand on this. Shenoid White, the man who took Lala's life, is facing justice. The legal system is working through his case, and we can only hope that accountability is served. But no conviction will bring her back. No sentence will undo the violence she endured or the family conflict that followed her death. What we're left with is a lesson, a painful, complicated, necessary lesson. Lala wasn't just a TikTok influencer. She wasn't just a hairstylist with magic hands. She was a person who wanted to be loved for who she was. She wanted safety. She wanted respect. She wanted to live authentically without fear. And the world failed her. Her abuser failed her. The systems that should have protected her failed her. And in some ways, even the people who loved her couldn't fully shield her from the harm that was coming. But here's what we can do now. We can remember her correctly. We can say her name, Lala. We can acknowledge the woman she was, not the person others wanted her to be. We can learn from the red flags she showed us. We can be better at spotting abuse, at intervening, at creating spaces where people feel safe enough to leave dangerous situations. And we can have hard conversations about identity, family, and respect, even when those conversations make us uncomfortable. Because comfort isn't the goal here. Understanding is. Change is. Girl Alala's story doesn't end with her death. It continues every time someone chooses to see people for who they truly are. Every time someone speaks up about abuse instead of scrolling past. Every time a family chooses acceptance over rejection. If this story moved you, if it made you think, if it made you feel something, do me a favor. Hit that like button. Share this video. Hit that subscribe, because every victim deserves to have their story told with dignity and truth. Tell me in the comments, what's the one thing you're taking away from Girl Alala's story? What will you do differently after hearing this? Rest in power, Girl Alala. You deserved so much better, and we'll make sure your story isn't forgotten. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.